that workers' camp we were in a while back?
Yeah.
This temple is the temple that belonged to that workers' camp. It's called the Temple of Hathor, and we're standing in the outer court. Come. So, what is it that makes God really, really angry? When someone, something, causes chaos in the lives of others. He hates idolatry, says that in the Bible. Idolatry creates chaos. So when God comes into a situation where there's someone crying out because someone or something has caused chaos, he becomes very angry. So the Bible says, in Exodus and in Numbers, that God executed judgment on the Egyptian gods. Now, in some sense, none of these carvings all over, Hathor up there, the cow, none of these are gods. They're stones, sticks, Jeremiah will say. But in another sense, the Bible is clear that behind the gods of the nations are demons. It's in the book of Deuteronomy. The sacrifices you offered are offered to demons, Moses says. Paul will quote that, or at least refer to it in Corinthians, to the people in Corinth. So there is a real struggle going on here. And when it came time for God to say, I'm going to act, his action was directed not first of all against Pharaoh. That'll come. Not first of all against the Egyptians, certainly not against the Israelites, but against the gods of all these temples. And those plagues, we call them, were more than just natural phenomenon that he caused to show how powerful he was. They do that big time. But they are clearly addressed against the powers that had caused the chaos. But I think he has more than one purpose in those plagues. You remember over at the Ramesseum, we asked, Pharaoh, are you listening? Egypt, are you listening? What would they have heard as the plagues happened? Come, let me show you something. We're in the sanctuary of this little Hathor temple, and like you might expect, there's a whole collection of the gods of Egypt who, for God's people, have created suffering and oppression and chaos. Carved on the walls are many of the gods and goddesses. And now his Hebrew people are suffering because of these gods. At least, he says through Moses, I will execute judgment on the gods of Egypt. So God came and in some sense addressed the gods very specifically. So, which of you will stand before the God of the Bible? How about you, Osiris? The Nile is your bloodstream, they say. Will you stand before him? How about tomorrow? The Nile is blood. Stretch out your stick, Moses. Osiris is not God. How about you, Hecate, frog-headed goddess of childbirth? Will you stand? How about tomorrow a plague of frogs comes? And you, Geb, God of the earth, how about tomorrow out of the dust come lice until you can't stand it anymore? Anyone else? What about you, Hathor? Cow goddess who nurses the pharaohs? How about you? Tomorrow, the cattle of the Egyptians will die. How about you, Seth, god of storm? Will you stand? Tomorrow, the hail will destroy the barley. And men of fertility, will you challenge the creator of the world? The locusts will come and eat what's left, and the wheat besides. And how about you, Amun-Ra, god of the sun? Will you stand before me? How about it's dark for 3 days? Because the creator of the universe said so. Are you listening? Are you hearing me? How about you, Nechbet, protector of Pharaoh and especially the crown prince? Must I challenge you too? Will you stand before the God of the universe? Are you listening? But this time, no one heard the cries. And clearly to an Egyptian, the gods, they had seen and understood to be the creators and controllers of the universe, could not stand the presence of the God of Moses. But there's another side to the plagues. There's another audience. Because the Hebrews are watching too. And we learned that they too had been drawn to those gods. So what were they hearing? Come, let me show you.